The war began in SA 1693, almost a century after Sauron had deceived the Noldor of Eregion and forged the One Ring, claiming all the rings of power from Ostin Edil except for the 3 rings of the Elves. Messages of this betrayal were sent north to Lindon, where the High King Gil-galad ruled, and he began amassing his forces, preparing for an invasion. In SA 1695, Sauron launched his attack. His armies surged forth from Mordor, crossing the fords of Isen and rapidly advancing toward Eregion, a realm that had once been a centre of elven craftsmanship and knowledge. Lord Elrond, who had been entrusted by Gil-galad with a contingent of troops, swiftly moved to intercept Sauron's forces. Recognizing the dire threat that Sauron's advance posed, Elrond gathered a small but determined force, aiming to hold off the Dark Armies until reinforcements from Gil-galad could arrive. The Noldoran swordsmen were the backbone of the Elven infantry, armed with large two-handed swords forged from the finest Elven steel. The guards of Imladris were Elrond's elite heavy infantry. These warriors, equipped with sword and shield, were the stalwart defenders of Elrond's realm. Elrond brought with him not just warriors, but also his lawmasters, wise elves skilled in the ancient arts of knowledge and magic. Even though Sauron relied heavily on his numerical superiority, he also deployed an array of elite units and powerful beings to tip the scales in his favor. Among Sauron's elite units were the Warg Riders. These riders were known for their speed, agility, and ferocity. The Olog-hai, Sauron's formidable troll warriors, were a fearsome addition to his army. These creatures were a breed of trolls enhanced by Sauron's dark sorcery, making them more intelligent and resilient than ordinary trolls. Most terrifying of all was Sauron himself, a being of immense power and malevolent will. As a Maya, a lesser deity in the hierarchy of the Valar, Sauron possessed abilities far beyond those of any mortal or even most other beings in Middle-earth. The Noldor archers are among the finest across all of Middle-earth, and will surely even out the odds. The first ranks of Mordor advanced forward. The elves are hesitant to meet them with their full forces. They could be easily flanked and enveloped. The elves send out a smaller force to hold the orcs in place, while their archers can be used to most effectiveness. The front lines of the elves are dwindling. The orcs' greater numbers begin to surround them. The elven archers respond, unleashing thousands of arrows directly at the massive orcs, breaking their formations and sending them fleeing. The elves are successful in pushing back the first wave of orcs. Without hesitation, Sauron sends a second wave of heavily armored orcs into the fray, determined to overwhelm the elven defenders through sheer force and relentless assault. Elrond, ever the astute commander, quickly assesses the situation. Recognizing the need to counter this heavily armored threat, he calls upon his pikemen to hold the lines. elf line begins to crumble due to the sheer numbers of Sauron's forces. Seeing the dire state of his forces, Elrond knows he must act decisively to prevent a total collapse. Without hesitation, he orders his reserve of heavy infantry to join the fray. These troops, the elite warriors of Imladris, have been held back for just such a critical moment. However, Sauron, ever watchful and cunning, sees this shift and decides to escalate the conflict further. He signals for his elite units, the Ologhai and Warg Riders, to enter the fray. Victory was near, but the power of the One Ring could not be undone. Sauron, sensing the ebb and flow of the battle, realized that his forces were on the verge of being overwhelmed. As Sauron stepped onto the battlefield, a palpable wave of fear and dread swept over the elven ranks. Elrond, sensing an imminent defeat, makes the difficult but strategic decision to pull his army back. The relentless onslaught from Sauron, empowered by the One Ring, has begun to overwhelm even the valiant efforts of the elves. Seeing the elves in retreat, Sauron seizes the opportunity to press his advantage. He rallies his forces, using the power of the One Ring to amplify his command and inspire a ferocious pursuit. Sauron's dark presence looms over the battlefield, driving his army forward with an almost supernatural fervor.